What's up, guys? What's up, guys? We just got to Silverstone, and a little surprise they have on the table that we were not expecting. We have Samantha. We got the Samantha plant right over here. We got, what is this one? What did we say? This is Sandra. Yep. So big shout out to Silverstone for this little hookup. I don't know. Do you think Fred will be jealous? I hope not. Probably not. Yeah. But huge thanks to our sponsors, Thermaltake, Fantix, and Cooler Master for making this trip possible.
All right, so first let's start with the MS11. And Silverstone is one of the few companies who's actually thinking about external storage solutions that match the market demands for fast capacity, beautiful enclosures, and appropriate cooling. And so this is the new MS11 enclosure, which will allow you to populate your own PCIe NVMe SSD inside, so you can literally build your extreme speed thumb drive sized external SSD. And this is exciting because one of our most popular videos involves the Silverstone MS09 enclosure, into which I put a SATA based M.2 drive, so I can have 500 gigabytes of capacity in my pocket wherever I need it. And because you build it your own, you can choose whatever M.2 SSD you want to put in there and whatever capacity too. So the same thing applies here, but now we'll have a PCIe NVMe drive instead. And so with the MS11 and the Type-C Gen 2 connection, we have enough power and bandwidth to take advantage of NVMe speeds on the PCIe connection, and internally you can mount up to a 2280 drive. The enclosure itself is fully aluminum with some ventilation on the sides and thermal pads inside, and it's actually quite small with a Type-C connection on one end and USB 3.1 Gen 2A on the other. Now the controller they're using is not yet announced, so we cannot really show you the interior pieces, but of course we'll do once this thing is launched. But we are told it's going to be incredibly fast. Woo! And I do appreciate that it's an elegant solution, plus because it's fully aluminum, it will help to dissipate the heat from the really hot NVMe PCIe M.2 drives. But now let's move on to some exciting case developments. We have the Silverstone LDO3 Mini ITX tower enclosure. So this one's got vertical orientation. I really like the design language on this one, like the angular glass panels with complementing ventilation at the bottom. It does look different, yet it somehow reminds me of Silverstone. That's perhaps because the top panel, it is fully mesh using a high airflow dust filter with high density mesh but thinner thread, so airflow can exit without any restriction. The I/O is basic, so there's no Type-C on here just yet, just dual USB 3. The glass panel spans 3 sides, and I love the angular layout with a dark tint, and you can light up the interior hardware to have that showcase pass through. The mount for 2 side panels is standard, using long thumb screws so they don't fall away when open, with 2-sided rubber grommets on the glass, which is awesome, so they don't fall out when you remove it, while the main panel sits on clips and is easily removable, so you can access the interior, perhaps change up your GPU and stuff. You don't necessarily need to take off all the panels in order to work on the interior. Now this layout may look familiar because the frame is based on the SG14 enclosure. It's compact, yet allows for dual 120mm fans, one up top and one below. And Silverstone was showing us this dual 120mm radiator potential. Now because the GPU sits so close to the side panel, they have added an additional 80mm top exhaust fan that eliminates the heat buildup on top of the GPU. Plus, if you install an exhausting 120mm fan up top, you have this nice vertical column of air from the bottom to the top. The case accommodates SFX power supplies with nice removable dust filter and this removable bracket up top to help with power cable pass-through installation. Little details like that matter. I appreciate it. And for storage, we only get 2 SSD mounts, and you'll probably want to utilize M.2 storage for your motherboard anyway. But yeah, ITX, you obviously have a little bit of restriction and compromises in compatibility and not too much hardware, but the case, I mean, that's the nature of ITX. And I personally love the format of the LDO3, not just on the interior because of all that cooling capacity, but also on the exterior. It does look unique, and I'm quite happy that Silverstone is designing cases that have that visual appeal and not just completely focused on just simple functionality.
So after the case, I mean, Silverstone, they do power supplies, and every year they're like, here we've broken some record, another SFX power supplies that breach or exceed our expectations of the wattage. So this is a 700 watt SFX power supply. It's absolutely tiny, and it's fully modular. As you can see, it's super short. The last one was 650 watts. The one before that was 550 watts. And so, we're just expecting now for the next Computex, maybe an 1000 watt SFX power supply, or maybe at CES. But yeah, increasing the wattage, the size remains the same. Well done. And of course, this is 80 plus platinum efficiency, so you get the best of the best in a small form factor, tons of power, modularity. Oh, and this tiny little, they've modified the power button, and I think that actually allows for better compatibility in cases, because we have had experience where the power button did actually cause some clearance issues for frame. So I'm going to conclude my night here with Sandra. All right, guys, so we're going to conclude our visit here with Sandra. Thank you to Silverstone for putting these out. Highly appreciated. So let us know what you guys think about that new ITX enclosure, the whole towering effect. You know, we've seen something like that from Fantex with the shift enclosure, which is a highly popular thing. So the price point we're told would be $100 to $120. So let me know if either of those ranges is suitable for you and your ITX addiction, because for some reason ITX enclosures are so expensive. But anyways, we're also excited to check out that new little enclosure for the PCI NVMe SSD, so that you can have that really fast storage in your pocket with a Type-C Gen 2 connection. So really happy that Silverstone is going about that. So make sure to check out other relevant content for Computex coverage, and we'll see you in the next one.